Hello, all my Convians, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. Today, the episode I'm going to be watching and reviewing is Sworn to the Sword. And this is an episode that I kind of feel like at least an element of it has been spoiled for me. Again, not super surprising since I'm so far behind on this show and others. But, from what I can tell, I've seen a picture of Connie in like what looks like ninja gear and holding a sword, so I assume maybe it's like they go back into Rose's room and like she becomes a powerful sword fighter, or who knows, maybe like one of the crystal gems, probably Pearl, trains her. I don't know, but we'll find out. So, yeah, let's get right into Sworn to the Sword. And we have a new intro. Okay, so it's like, it's obvious that music is a huge aspect of this show. This is adorable. God.
Get started. Do you wish to engage in combat? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes. You just be careful, and I will. When everything is chaos.
Oh.
And you have nothing but the way you feel, your strategy and the sword.
Was that Jasper? Wow. That's the ninja suit. Think of what you want to say. Step 2, say how to talk to people.
Hey, Steven. I have to do something. Thanks for telling me that lie.
Yeah, because Connie can't poof.
Steven is what matters. And who's the one protecting him?
He can. That's awesome. Okay, so. So, I mean, I know it was kind of basically confirmed before that he has control over it.
That's the idea.
But it's not even like in super emergency situations anymore. He's just able to do the shield when he wants. Ooh.
I mean, let her. Did Rose make you feel like you were nothing? Rose made me feel like I was everything. I see now how deeply you care about each other. That will make you both great knights. Connie is practically an expert, so Steven, you have a lot of catching up to do. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait for the mid-air and underwater dueling exercises. It's going to be oodles of fun.
Underwater dueling exercises? Oh, that doesn't sound good. Okay, alright, so, just so you know, Hulu's acting up, so that's why I didn't get the end music there. I'll try and remedy that, but I'm going to guess that there was no difference this time, although I know to keep an eye out for it in the future, obviously. But, wow, that was an intense episode. I mean, you know, not on the same level, obviously, as The Return and Jailbreak, stuff like that, but it was still a pretty intense episode for its own reasons. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take my notes down, and I'll be back with you all in just a moment for the review portion of this video. Hello everyone and welcome back. Time for the review portion of this video. And let's get right into it with my favorite parts, because I don't want to give away everything, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure out how I feel about the episode as we go along. But my first favorite part doesn't pertain to this episode specifically, but the fact that we have a new intro. And I feel like I've heard that there is a extended version of that intro, so that might be the next thing I look up. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just so the new intro, it looks really cool, and I'm interested to find out what the extended version of that is. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. My second favorite part of this episode was the very beginning with Steven and Connie jamming. That was just such a good song. It really was. The Share This Jam With Me, I think, is the name, or at least that's what I assume based off of their lyrics. But yeah, that was such a cute song, and like I was saying during the reaction portion, it's like I don't know the exact ages of the voice actors portraying each of them, but they're both good singers. Steven, I would argue he's not quite as good, but in the portrayal of a younger kid, he's definitely got a good voice, and it suits the character. And then the girl voicing Connie, she has a phenomenal voice. It is a beautiful voice. So yeah, there's so many really good singers in this show. Wow. But anyway, moving on from there, my next favorite part of this was the entire concept of Connie the swordfighter, or as it's basically defined a little bit further, Connie the knight. And I think it is such a good mix to have with those two. With Connie and Steven, because it's very clear that they have a close relationship. I don't know how far the series is going to go as far as them like being in a relationship, as far as dating and all that. I know that they're either like in their age 12 or 13. But as far as growing up and into adulthood and that kind of relationship, it can't really tell whether or not they're going to go that far with the show, or even really just how to conceptualize that. But all the same, they're a great team, and her being Steven's knight, or I guess as it's shown in the end, both of them becoming knights together, I just think is an excellent concept, especially whenever it comes to, I can only assume they're going to form Stivani again at some point, and will probably have to fight. So, both of them being in sync and being able to fight together, that essentially improves their chances of being able to, use that form and fight efficiently. So I think that's really cool. But also, it's a sign of how far Connie has come from the very first time we saw her. She was this little shy bookworm girl, and now she's a sword fighter. She's a knight, essentially, training to fight alongside the crystal gems and to protect Steven. Although, again, Steven and Connie are going to be fighting together, but all the same, it's just that's amazing character development. In my personal opinion, that by itself is reason enough to love this episode. But I have more favorites to cover. My next one is very simple. It's Pearl's reaction to Connie's enthusiasm. Just no eyes whatsoever. It's like they're watering up in these watered circles, and she's just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" So yeah, that was just a great moment right there. I loved that. My next favorite part was definitely Steven's reflexive bubble. And it's, when the holopearl or hologram Pearl appears, it's like, Steven definitely still remembers what happened to Pearl before, when, she wasn't just wasn't paying attention. So, immediately Steven is uneasy, but when he hears Connie's enthusiasm, it's just all of a sudden, whoop, protective bubble. So that was hilarious to me, but at the same time, it's further signs of, those two relationship together. It's like Steven very much caring for her and not wanting her to get hurt, for reasons that I'm going to expand on very soon. But, my next favorite part was actually Pearl's hologram. It was during her song sequence, but when she showed the hologram of Pearl back in one of the battles, when Rose was facing off against some gem, which is going to be... Well, actually, this is one of my questions of the episode. Was that Jasper with an axe? Because it looked like Jasper with an axe. I know that's not her weapon, like, Jasper uses the head thing, but it looked like Jasper with an axe, so in that case, I can only assume that they actually did meet? Or are there potentially multiple versions of Jasper? I don't know. But, yeah, I found that really interesting, to say the least. Which actually brings us to my next favorite part. It's more of an expansion on that scene, but it's when Garnet reveals to Steven that Pearl sacrificed herself multiple times to try and protect Rose. So, like, she says she took pride in sacrificing herself for Rose. And she's basically enforcing that upon Connie. Like, this idea that she doesn't matter, only the person you're protecting matters, which was in Pearl's case, Rose, and in Connie's case, Steven. So, yeah. That was basically what brought along, or it makes very clear, is like, Pearl isn't quite taking into account the fact that Connie's not a gem. Connie is a human. And she may be willing to put her life on the line for Steven, willing to die for Steven, but she's not gonna poof and come right back. Connie would be dead. Or at the very least, severely injured, considering what has happened to the gems in the past that has made them poof. But they don't even know what happens to Steven when he gets severely damaged. All he's had so far is a black eye and maybe getting roughed up a little bit, but nothing severe. But yeah, that was definitely concerning, but at the same time a very interesting point, and one reason why it's one of my favorite parts. And my next favorite part was, this is an expansion again on Connie the Knight, but it's when Steven and Connie come together and they fight together. They become jam buds, which is also an extension of their song they were playing. But yeah, that was such an excellent, clearly excellent team up, especially when it came to both of them facing off against Pearl. It's like Connie jumps right in and like no reservation for herself. She just jumps right in and is, attacking Pearl in the training exercise, obviously. But as Pearl is about to make a strike, like Connie and Steven spin around and he blocks with his shield, which actually another favorite part, again, which I also mentioned during the reaction itself. The fact that Steven is apparently able to very easily now control his bubble and his shield, which again, it's like before, as far as I can tell, when it has occurred, it's been during moments of major fear, or it's like Steven really feels like he has to protect the gems or protect someone he cares for. And that's still the case here, but also in this case, Steven has a very, it's almost like a nonchalant ability to control these things, which is just phenomenal. It's huge steps from where he was, especially at the beginning of the show. And yeah, I really love that fact. The fact that Steven is, again, able to control his powers without having to put a lot of effort into it. It's just awesome to me. And then finally, my last favorite part of this episode was sort of the reveal. I was actually going to have this be a more worrying point because of Connie's question of, did Rose make you feel like you were nothing? Which that's a very concerning thought. But then when Pearl said Rose made her feel like everything, the true, or at least what I perceive as what's really being said there is Pearl saw herself as nothing. And that's why she was, making that, I guess, unknowing or unintentional enforcement of that upon Connie, while Rose made her feel like everything. That's why she was so adamant to protect Rose and to have Connie be just like her in a sense. So yeah, that was just, that's really deep, and I have a feeling that that's something that will be touched on upon more in the future, or at least I assume so. But yeah, those are all my favorite parts. I do have one annoyance with this episode, and it's not a major one, but it is still something that bothers me, and it's one that actually bothers me in shows outside of this, which is honestly a lot of my annoyances with shows in general. But it was when, after Connie and Pearl teleport to the stadium, or to the Coliseum, Garnet and Amethyst come out of the room's door, whatever, and it's just all of a sudden like Amethyst is cracking up. That was the funniest thing I ever heard, and Garnet's just like, yep, I'm hilarious, or something like that. And it's just, I hate it when shows do the out of context that's hilarious, and then they never explain what was hilarious. There's like, that's never expanded upon. It just always drives me crazy. I feel like they could have just come out of the room and talked to Steven, but the joke aspect of it was just completely unnecessary. Because, like, they could have come out the door, they hop onto the teleporter, and Amethyst does her weird yelling, "Why are you so sad?" or whatever she said. But again, just like that's the funniest thing I ever heard. Completely unnecessary. Unless there's some sort of like future episode that has a time travel element to where we go back and we find out what the joke was, which doesn't make any sense because I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe they came back from fighting the Slinker and Garnet made a hilarious joke about the Slinker. I don't know. But, okay, so that's my annoyance. Moving on from there, as far as tracks of the episode go, I did have two, and it's just because both of them were so good in this episode. The first one, Share This Gem With Me, which was, again, the very beginning of the episode. Just a cute, adorable, well done short song. And then what I assume the song is called Do It For Him. That is perhaps a longer title would be You Do It For Her, that is to say, you do it for him. So yeah, both of those tracks were just absolutely phenomenal. If you all can think of any others, let me know, but those are the two definite standouts for me. Now, as for the quote of the episode, there were several good moments, but the one that just definitely caught my attention completely was when Pearl starts breaking down when she's arguing back and forth with Steven, saying that Steven is too important, that he shouldn't even be near the battle, and she yells, "Why won't you just let me do this for you, Rose?" And I don't know how much that has to do exactly with her interactions with Rose in reality, But it's just further sign of what I pointed out earlier, is that Pearl saw herself as nothing, while Rose made her feel like everything. And perhaps Rose was trying to show Pearl that, she does matter. She shouldn't just be sacrificing herself and getting in the way for no reason, or not for no reason, but just to be there, because she matters too. So I don't know exactly how to read into that, but yeah, that was just such a great quote of the episode. But as always, let me know if you have any others. And finally, I have 2 questions here, one of which I think you could possibly call a theory, but as it stands, it's just a question for me. So the first one was, during the hologram, was that Jasper with an axe, or was that a different iteration of Jasper, or just something that looks a lot like her? I don't know. That's my big question there. Or maybe it's just, different version. Maybe it's just some unnamed, also big gem thing. But whatever. Moving on from that question, my next one is, this is the one that could potentially be a theory, but I don't want it to be. And it's that, would the creators of the show go so far as to have Connie die? Now, I don't want this to happen. I honest to God hope it doesn't happen. But this show has surprised me a lot in the past, and it has gotten surprisingly dark at times. And I don't know, part of me feels like maybe, just maybe, some of what was going on here was foreshadowing to a potential sacrifice that Connie might have to make. Now again, I don't want that to be the way it is, and I really hope that's not the way it is, but could the creators of the show go so far as to have Connie die? I'll just leave that up in the air. Of course, if any of you all want to theorize around that question, I would love to hear your thoughts, but yeah, it's just, that question right there just fills me with a lot of dread, you might say. But as for my overall thoughts on this episode, it was really good. It was, again, in a different way from the finale episodes of season 1, but it was intense. It was heartfelt. There was a lot of there were several emotional moments. It was funny. Other than just that one annoyance of that out of context, we didn't even hear the joke. The episode as a whole is just really solid and really good. I felt like it, and the show is good at this in general, but this one episode, the events that take place could have potentially been spread out into 2 episodes. And it's like they would have had to fill a lot in there, which I think they could have done. But they did a complete story, in my opinion, in the span of an 11-minute episode. And that just blows me away that they did that. It is so well done. It is such a strong episode that I feel like this one is up in one of my top spots at this point. It's just so well done. The music, the songs, everything. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on Sworn to the Sword. And I would love to hear your all's thoughts on this. Any other favorites you might want to mention? Any annoyances other than mine you might have had? And as always, tracks, quotes, this and that. Always, keep it spoiler free as far as episodes going forward. But I would just love to hear your thoughts on this episode, and maybe your thoughts on my thoughts. Just be nice. But coming up next, we're going to be watching Rising Tides, Crashing Skies. And based on the title, it sounds like it could be pretty intense. I guess we'll have to wait and see, or I'll have to wait and see, rather. But yeah, so that's coming up next, and either before that one or after that one, I may do a reaction or thoughts on the extended intro, if I can find that. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But until next time, everyone, for Rising Tides, Crashing Skies, I'm PapaKen, and I will see you in the next episode.